almost, and then you get down, and then just the continued fight and to compete at that level. Um, I have the utmost respect for those guys in the locker room because, in our league, it's hard to win games, but you can also let go of the rope, and they refuse to let go. That team right there is going to be in the mix. And both of us on the back to back. I know they're traveling, big win for them, obviously in Denver. But to come out and compete like that for our guys after some of the heartbreaks that we've had lately says a lot about their character as individuals and collectively.
Doug, given kind of what you guys have been through already, and then kind of the unknown of where things are going to go, just how good is it to be reminded of why you ask them to fight like this, and then how good it feels to do what you want to do out there?
Minus me, I mean, it's really spectacular for them, for our coaching staff and organization. But more than anything, we haven't particularly played at the level that we want to at home. Oddly enough, we've done it on the road quite a few times where we've competed really well. But these fans, this is this is what they deserve, and this is what we will give them. Like ultimately, gonna win them all? No, but they want to know that you are pouring your heart and soul out on the floor when they walk out of the building, and they got that tonight. And I even think like watching Portland and different things. There's steps to where we're going and what we're trying to do, and these guys they continue to step down that path.
Coach Christie, you're down early 14 points in that fourth quarter, though. It seemed like that's around the time that, Keegan started getting hot.
Yeah.
What do you like about that when, you see that, he's trying to get you guys to that victory?
Yeah, for Keegan, and you guys mentioned it in pregame, like guarding the best player, which he did in KD. He also guarded Thompson, which is their best driver, with the gravity and the physicality, and all of a sudden he started making shots, and I'm just proud of him. At first, he doesn't stop shooting the ball. We ran a couple sets that got him open, and he knocked them down. But probably one of my favorite stats on here is that he was 5 for 5 at the free throw line, because that's where he's going to really take a jump. When he shoots the ball so well, if you go under, if he just looks at the basket, you have to respect it. And a lot of people will leave the ground, and when they leave the ground, I'm insisting that he creates contact and gets to the line, and he did it on a 3-pointer tonight. So super excited for him. He deserves a game like this.
No, you guys hadn't had very many close games down to the final minutes, but have had a few here now. What's your confidence level, given the veteran experience that you have on this team in those moments, and what have you seen from your group?
Well, first of all, we got two of in our game the best competitors, and that's Russell and Dennis. I mean, just high. They aren't backing down from anybody. And then you got an elite closer in DeMar DeRozan, and two-way player in Keegan. Our young bigs continue to rebound the ball. This is a team that is big on the boards, and we out-rebounded them 55-47. So there's a lot that you can look at and say, yeah, first of all, compete. And we've done that. And you put yourself in these positions to figure out a way to get over the hump. And tonight we did. The other night we didn't. In Portland we didn't. But you got to be in it to win it. And they're putting themselves in that position, and that breeds confidence in a lot of different things. And it's great. Now you got to back it up against a really fantastic Detroit team.
Coach, just out of curiosity, on that last play, as the play is developing, what's going through your head?
A miss first. You kind of know KD is getting. We had a couple of different. The first one I grabbed him, but just in the moment didn't even let him get to the huddle and start talking about, because part of those plays are they have to own what they about to do. Like I got an idea of what I'd like them to do, but they got to own it. And when they own it, it's a different deal because I said that this is what we're going to do. So now, coach, we got you. And talking to them, the first iteration before it got knocked out of bounds was we were waiting for the ball to get inbounded and anybody come together, we were going to switch. After that happened, it was like we switching regardless, and that's how Dennis got on KD. But more than anything, in that quick huddle, it was just like, listen, the physicality level has to be through the roof because they're going to push you off. They're not going to make the call. Be extremely physical. Make sure that you arrive when he arrives at the ball. You arrive there and contest, and then we can live with the result. And fortunate for us, KD missed.
You mentioned Dennis there, especially with him going with KD. So that physicality he had, he kind of went with him the entire second half and overtime. His impact, but also just how he kind of helps maybe hold the composure for you guys on the
Yeah, an incredible third quarter by Dennis. I don't know what his stat line was in that third quarter, but what I will say is he came in and palpably, like, he changed the energy, like he picked up full court. The presence of making them feel us one of our defensive pillars, like that's what he did. And then he made shots. Keegan's gravity of making some shots, talking to Dennis, if you can reject and get downhill, reject and get downhill, and he did. So, he was spectacular. That was big time basketball, and we needed every drop of his 24, 10, and 7.
Shauna took my question, so I'll ask you this. You went to Malik late in the third for just a few minutes. What went into that decision and never went back to him?
Just it's always it was the same way when Malik was playing and Keon was there. It was like, how are we feeling? What am I feeling with them? Is one playing and he wasn't? Keon wasn't terrible, but Malik brought in energy. The crowd gave that energy back. He came in, got a bucket, and I told him after the game, like, I appreciate you for being a pro. Like, that's part of what it is to be a part of a team and a good teammate. Like, it was big time for him. It was 5 minutes, but they were a really good 5 minutes that we needed, and he supplied it.
Doug, you had a coaching moment with Max early in the game.
I hugged him and told him I love him when he came out and he fouled out. In that moment, just trying to explain to him, I don't even know the exact words, but understanding leverage and different things like that. But he's getting a baptism and you can see how he is improving with, last time we played them, it was Adams and he held him off with one arm and grabbed a rebound. 2 games later, I watched him do that to someone else. So understanding, where to be. I know the one that you're talking about. I was telling him to meet him higher up the floor. So if you don't want him to get it on the block, you need to meet him at the free throw line. If you don't want him to get to the free throw line, you need to meet him past the 3-point line because he's a big guy and he's going to push you. But the point is that those are the little tiny things that as he continues to learn them, it helps him because he's so talented. Yeah.
Doug, you and Scott both coming into the year, big emphasis on creating an identity.
Yeah.
Coming into this year, you kind of define that, defend, rebound, share, play with pace, the 94 feet thing. I think we saw tonight, full court zone. How much did you feel like tonight was playing towards that identity that you want to see?
I really think that our last 3 games have been very targeted towards what we want and how we want to play. There's a competitiveness that before we move on to plays and numbers and all these things, there's a competitiveness that is a must. It's an absolute must to even compete in our league. So we have to find that, and it's rough and it's bumpy because sometimes, you're subbing guys out because they're not doing it. But right now, man for man, I said, compete and play with joy. And there was a joy on the floor, on the bench, and in the building. So identity-wise, just like I talk about Golden One beginning to get its identity, we begin to gain our identity, and it's gonna be bumpy, but that's part of, because if it was easy, everybody would have an identity and it'd be all these great teams. But you got to go through it. And some people don't want to go through it. Some aren't patient. There's a lot of different reasons that it happens, but we're on the road to getting to where we want to go. And I think these last 3 games have been a good example of that. Yeah. I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
See y'all on Tuesday.